can I just be transparent here?
Yep.
There are times where I want to pick up the phone and call the hormone specialist and tell her, give me them hormones. Give it here, because I can't do this anymore. I'm just like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Give it, just stick them. Okay, come. I'm ready. But tell you, lots of prayers and encouragement.
Good evening. Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome to another edition of the Getting the Win Show. I am your host, Melissa T, the procrastination bully. And in today's show, I'm interviewing the one and only Simone Harris, wife of the wonderful L. David Harris. She is the author of the book She Walks by Faith, and her book chronicles her journey with perimenopause and how she used her faith walk to navigate the journey. She's not all the way through it yet, but she made sure to write the book to help other ladies navigate this transition, which is a pretty huge one. And, enjoy this episode. Take all the notes you can, because not only do we get into Simone's personal journey, but she also shares some solutions that can help some of the hormone fluctuations that some women experience. And she also gets into some of the symptoms. So yeah, you'll definitely want to take notes for this one. And by all means, enjoy and share this one. All right. Definitely and share this one.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Melissa.
Absolutely. So for you watching, if you don't know, Simone Harris is the wife of L. David Harris, who you've seen on the show before. Come think of it, Simone, like LD has been on the show the most. He's like been on the show 3 times, which is crazy. That's my twin, yo. So like we're constantly sharpening each other. But I wanted to have you on because, congrats on your book. She Walks by Faith.
Thank you.
Yes. And real quick, I just want to give you your flowers on the back. Like that photo was fire. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was my fifth for my 50th.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. And another bit of flowers for you there. I'm like 50 where? Like you don't look it at all. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago.
Okay. You see what I'm saying? And it still works. So yeah, I would love to, talk about the journey that inspired the book in the first place. For our audience, I just want to read the subtitle because this is amazing too. The book is She Walks by Faith. Here's a subtitle: Experiencing God's Peace in the Storm of Hot Flashes and Mood Swings. Okay. So please, Simone, unpack all of that for us.
Well, we're all on this so-called journey, right? And every woman, as we know, they're going to experience this journey. It just looks different for each of us. And my mother, who is Jamaican, I'm Jamaican. I was born here. Yeah, there you go. My aunts, my grandmothers, no one spoke about this.
Right.
So you never knew what was really happening. I would see them sweating. They seemed miserable, like super miserable, super moody. They're yelling at you one minute, next minute, there's, you're okay, And I remember this journey for me hit harder when it was during the pandemic time. My husband, David, he was working outside the home, which he has not done in years. And by this time now in Jamaica itself, we were on lockdown at the time. And it was just my son and I spending a lot of time together. Now, it was a very stressful time because I would see David leave for work from 4 a.m. and he doesn't get home until almost 10 p.m. And yes, so he was in a high stress job. And I was just like, this is not what we signed up for, because, it just disrupted the whole family balance and everything. And so now I had taken on what's the word I want to say? Well, my role at home changed a little bit more, even though David was here when he can or when he could be. And so I found myself having to do a lot more, and it was starting to take a toll on me. Not just that, but seeing him so stressed out. And he metabolizes stress, right? He seemed like nothing gets to him because he's very orderly and everything. But during that time, it was affecting me. And I got a call one day while he was at work, and they told me actually, one of the employees, the staff, sent me a video. He's knocked out on a chair, and they said, "We're trying to wake him. We can't wake him up." And I was just like, wait a minute. At that point, I felt myself getting upset, jumped in the car, went to his job, and I got him. And I told them, y'all figure it out. I'm taking my husband home because y'all not going to leave me here a widow. And during that time, I had to go to the doctor to get some papers filled out for us to get health insurance. And she's like, okay, we have to check your blood pressure. I'm like, okay, no problem. Waited 2 hours to see her. She checked my blood pressure, and it was 175 over 101. And I said, no, that's not me. And she's like, yeah, that's you. And she immediately put me on blood pressure meds. At this time, I didn't know what was happening. I was feeling all, out of sorts and everything. And then, fast forward, I ended up at Heart Institute, normal labs. Everything was normal. I'm like, okay, if everything is normal, then why do I feel like this? I started to have health anxiety because I was just like, all kinds of stuff was happening. It's like a whole lot of symptoms was happening, and I didn't know how to identify it. Spoke to my mother. I said, Mommy, I don't know why I feel like this. She's like, oh, you'll be all right. Drink some tea. It's probably gas. Or
That's
you
the
know how that
universal
goes,
thing,
right?
right? Gas.
Yeah. Or, take this, take that. And I was just like, no, something is not right. And eventually I was like, wait a minute. I noticed cycles were sporadic and everything. And then finally had a meeting, not a meeting, an appointment with my OBGYN. And she's like, are you experiencing X, Y, Z? Z? I said, yes, I am. And she's like, you might be experiencing perimenopause. And I was like, what is that? Why?
Mhm.
You hear menopause, perimenopause. Anyways, so at that point, I was just like, oh my. Fast forward 2 years later, and after going through all this stuff, and David now, he's becoming even more in tune with what's happening with me. And he's just like praying for me, and I've been praying. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. What is going on with me? And David said, God told me to tell you, you need to write a book. I was like, no, he didn't. He didn't tell me that. He did not tell me that. And I said, okay. He said, honey, pray about it. I said, okay. The last thing I've ever written was in my uh, technical writing class, and that paper got shredded.
Oh, wow.
But I did survive. I got an 85 on that paper. That was the last technical paper I've ever written. I haven't done anything else. And I was just like, I can't write. I can barely speak. I'm forgetting things. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how to write. And he's like, yes, you do. You do know how to write. And I was like, no, I can't. Prayed about it. And I think I took a week or two. And I said, okay, Lord. And that's how that started. And it took me 6 months. Yes. Dedicated writing every day. And as I got towards the end of the outline, I slacked off a bit because I was just like, when is this going to be over? I've never, no, seriously, I'm like, when is this going to be over? I have nothing else to say. I can't think of anything else. And it was just like, that's it. You have nothing else to say because this is just the beginning. And I was like, beginning of what? I'm done. I am not ever writing, reading another article, another study. I'm done. And it was just like, okay, but you have more to do. And that's the book. That's how the book came about. And
Mm,
so here it is, the baby.
amazing. Yeah, the baby. And as y'all can see, like the book is not huge. You know what I
No,
mean? Like this is a pretty easy read. Like,
pretty easy
you
to
know,
read. And
and
I
just so
made
y'all
sure to
know,
do it conversational style, you know,
yeah,
because I am not, um, I guess if we talk about behavioral styles, I am not, as you can see, I'm more, I like the freestyle conversation.
yeah,
If you put me into a box and tell me I had to, the interviewing, speaking, I would just be like this. And I won't understand one thing you ask me because
right.
I process it very differently, you
Yeah,
know? So, and I thought about those who are going to read it. Do I want them to feel like we're having a conversation, or do I want them to feel like I'm talking at them? No, I want a conversation because a part of the book is, I speak about how we don't have conversations around the dinner table or at family gatherings about this. Our ancestors, they don't talk to us about anything. They have not. And I mean, well, that's not to us, but they haven't done that. My mom's mother didn't talk to her, her mother. And we can take this all the way back to biblical times. So I didn't want anyone else to have to go through it like me.
wow. Well, first of all, thank you for broaching the conversation
Oh,
with
okay.
your book. Um, and I'm guessing because you're on Instagram as well, Instagram and TikTok as well. So have you seen you're like, not really. But have you seen Tabitha Brown's content?
I've seen them more so on Facebook, so forgive me.
No, you're
Um,
good.
I try.
No, I feel you. Yeah, she's the other um public figure that's
Hmm.
like she's talking about it with like a loudspeaker. Like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm going through this. These are the
Hmm.
symptoms.
Hmm.
Y'all pray for me, essentially.
No, it's
And like
true.
just and opening it up and asking the
Yeah.
questions of her audience too. Like, how y'all dealing with this? You know what I mean? So
Yes.
kind of like talk to our audience about some of the symptoms that you've been experiencing or that they should look for when perimenopause appears in their lives. Like, what should they expect?
So let me start out by saying that there's more than 35 symptoms.
Oof.
35, there are 35 common symptoms that are always highlighted
Mm,
by the community, by the
mm,
medical community. But I started learning more and more. And as I researched, I was like, oh my gosh, they are saying that there are 85 researched confirmed symptoms,
wow.
but there could be up to 150 symptoms.
Wow.
So they're going to say over 100, but some of the research that I've read through and speaking to hormone specialists, they're saying up to 150 symptoms. So some of the we already know the common symptoms, and I try not to highlight those because those are the ones everyone is has knows about: the hot flashes, the mood swings, the sleepless nights, the insomnia. Um, but let's talk about the weird ones, okay?
Yeah.
Um, Metallic taste in the mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Fabric, material. In Jamaica, we say fabric, whatever.
No, it's the same. I
But
got you. It's the same thing.
yeah,
Like clothing. Yeah.
you don't like to feel certain material or fabric on your skin. You just cannot tolerate that.
Wow.
Um, yeah. What are some other? Oh, some women are losing their teeth as a result of
Ooh.
that because again you have bone density issues, so that has a lot to do with it. um there are gastric issues. A friend of mine, actually, hers just developed even into a rare form of gut issue, and I can't remember the name of it. It's so rare that they say only a certain percentage in the world have this. And for her, it was confirmed it's as a result of perimenopause. Well, she's postmenopausal now. And it's just like, wow, who knew? Another thing, I don't know if you know sty, what a sty is. A sty is a bump that's on the eye. It affects, yeah, so it affects the tear duct or
Okay.
anywhere on the eyelid.
Okay.
And so there are growths that are there and the fatty deposits. That's as a result of low estrogen and
Okay.
also causes that. My mom has that. She didn't know. The ophthalmologist told her, yeah, menopause causes that. Um, there's just a host of them that you don't even realize. Dry skin, yes, it is a part. It's not, it's one of the common symptoms, but not the most talked about. But I realized that I had that years ago when I was in my 40s and didn't know before my 40s, my late 30s. And I didn't realize it where I could only use one product. I tried all these moisturizers and everything and eventually it was one product that I think I should have bought stock in the company. I saw them go away and now they just returned back to the market. It's called the Body Shop. I could
Okay.
only use
Yeah.
I could only use their product at the time. If I had to use their shower gel, I had to use the body butter. And I couldn't use just one body butter. I had to use three different body butters on different days. Um,
Wow.
oh, here's another thing. The body odor.
Mm-hmm.
Women, if you don't realize there is a natural changeover at some point, that bothered me a whole lot. So I have to I have to use three different deodorants. So I can't use one back to back. I have to switch it up. And then
Okay.
I learned some new things now and what we can do so that I don't have to go through all of that. Um, just a host of other things. Nail beds, your fingernails, you might see ridges in them. That's as a result of that. Um, well, we know vision change.
That I wear
and I
glasses too. I get it.
and it has gotten better for me. It has gotten better for me where I only have this on to read now.
Okay.
Before they told me I needed it to see, for distance.
Mm-hmm.
And last year I took it, I was like, wait a minute, I can read that way over there. I can see. So yeah, so that was one of the symptoms. We know hair thinning is a common one. Eyebrows. I had this eyebrow stopped growing to here. Then I started mixing my own oils on my face. And once I started using it, my eyebrows now back. I have a full.
Hey. Hey.
So, you find what works for you. Um, yeah, those are, yeah, that's it for the symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are some interesting symptoms. So I'm glad you shared those. And of course, I'm in your community, haven't experienced
Mhm.
any of this stuff yet. But that was the reason why I wanted to join, though. I wanted
Yes.
to like get ahead of the curve and know what to expect because
Mhm.
I'm already starting to see a couple of them. Have
Mhm.
not been officially
Mhm.
diagnosed yet, but
Right.
starting to notice something. I'm like, oh, okay. At least she
Right.
warned me.
Right.
Like,
Oh, and I'm sorry to go back.
yeah, yeah.
Also, women tend to have they'll see an increase in sinusitis, allergens.
Okay.
So I have a neighbor here. We were at a function and we were just like, why is she only eating? I think she only had steamed vegetables and maybe some rice, and that was it. And she later confided in my dad. I went home early. She confided in my dad and told him she can't eat meat, she can't eat fish, she cannot use dry seasoning powders, um, no dairy, nothing. So all she had for breakfast was steamed plantain and crackers. That was her breakfast, and nothing bothered her after, once she ate that, she was like, that's it. So she didn't eat certain things. And there was a lot of things. She was very limited. And then as I started learning more, I find that that's another thing. You can have a recent onset of food allergen that you've never experienced before. And these are foods that you've always eaten. And I shared that with her. Actually, before I even found this out, I went to her house and showed her how to prepare. foods with more natural ingredients and everything. She was excited. She was able to eat pizza and stuff like that. And then in the last year, she shared with me, the doctor told me that it's menopause. That's why I was having these issues. Now now her hormones are balancing out. She can now eat some curry goat. She can eat, things that she was missing. So now she's starting to be in tune because I was able to have that conversation with her. She's like, my mother never told me none of this. I said, well, she couldn't. She
She probably
couldn't.
didn't know.
She didn't know because one of the things, even I had a speaking engagement with like 4 or 5 churches here in
Hmm.
Jamaica because we find that the conversation is not had within the pews.
No.
And yeah, and because in Jamaica, they talk about this duppy ghost.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the director, she said, can you speak to us about that? Because in Jamaica, the women feel that duppy is on them. That's why they feel hot and cold, hot and cold. Or that's why they're having these weird feelings and nobody else is feeling hot and cold. So it must be something wrong with me. And some of these women actually lose their mind. They think they're hallucinating. That's another symptom. Hallucination is another thing.
Oh.
Yes, we have a family friend who experienced that. She couldn't be left alone. And it wasn't until when she came to Jamaica, she learned, she moved to Jamaica with her husband, figuring, we can have a better life. I can eat better. Maybe that's it. Only come to find out that when she got here, the doctor told her, you're happy, you're in menopause, and this is why you're experiencing this hallucination. Got her naturally balanced, and she was fine after that. So it looks different for each of us, but those are the symptoms. They can be scary, but it does not have to be if you educate and arm yourself with tips and tricks and find what works for you.
So this is the importance of having a community, and I'm glad you established one. So talk to our audience a little bit about your Second Spring Survivors community. Talk about that.
All right. So Second Spring Survivors Community, that was born out of, again, another conversation with LDH. I was frustrated and I wanted someone to talk to. Yes, I was in a big group. Everyone, I think the issue surrounding menopause and perimenopause started to really become popular in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but I don't know anyone in this group. And everyone is silent, just like in my group, kind of, but everyone is just silent. We didn't have meetups and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I don't want to talk to just any. I don't have anyone. So then he's like, why not call your girlfriend Roxanne? She was my former housemate when I lived in Maryland in the USA. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I called her and she was just like, Simone, I'm so glad you called me. She's like, because I have no one to talk to either. And I prayed and asked
Wow.
God to send me someone that I didn't have to try and know or get to know. I just wanted this to be, I want someone who understands what I'm going through. And she said, and Simone, and you called me out of the blue to talk. I said, this wasn't out of the blue. This was divine intervention. And out of that, David was like, okay, he says, time to get your community started. I was like, what? He said, so we got the community started. We first were on a different platform because I didn't want to do social media because so many people they don't really want to share while they're on social media.
That's
They're
true.
like, yeah, and they didn't feel safe. And I wanted a safe space. That's another thing. Most important for me was a safe space for women to come together, to talk, to share, and not feel marginalized, not feel like, oh, here she go again, whining. I don't want to hear all of that. I don't want that because it's not a matter of whining. We need a safe space to talk.
Hmm.
I said to David, what should I call it? I was thinking all kinds of names and everything. And he was just like, let's think about it a little bit more. And then Second Spring came up and I was Second Spring. I was like, Second Spring. huh, this is our second, what's the word? Instead of saying this is our second teenage years, because we're going through the hormone changes, just like
Yep.
when we did for teenager. Yeah, we're transitioning. So it's a transition period, but this is our second spring, our second time, our second
Yeah.
event or whatever. So we can, we're evolving. And so that's how we came up with that. And we're like, yeah. And he's like, and you're survivors. I was like, yeah, we are second spring survivors. I loved it. I chose it. It's not anywhere else.
Most
So, and it
importantly.
was right. And this, at least not the name for the club, but this is from the Chinese culture where they talk about second spring a lot for women.
Okay.
And I loved it. And so this is how we came up with it. And eventually the platform went out and I had to switch to Facebook. I lost some of the members because they don't have Facebook accounts and they don't want to have anything to do with it. And that's fine. Um, it's fine if it's an intimate group as well. We meet once a month on Zoom. We call it our virtual happy hour. We also do virtual brunch on Sundays. So we usually meet at the end of the month in the evening on a Sunday or 11 o'clock, noon on a Sunday, depending on, what I decide at the time. Um, we have anywhere between 4 to 10 women that'll come on, and it's usually different ones pop in every now and then. Great conversations. And so that's how we do it. And so you can find us at www.secondspringsurvivors.com.
Second, so that's plural. Second spring survivors.
Yes,
Dot
dot
com.
com, plural. Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, with all of this,
Yes.
kind of give our audience a foretaste of what they can expect in the book. Like when they pick it up, you mentioned before it's conversational, so we have an idea
Mm-hmm.
of the tone. But what are some key lessons that you want to impart to them, like that you have imparted to them in the book, like some of their
Hmm.
takeaways?
All of it. You can't just take one thing away from the book, all of it, because what I did, I share my experience,
Mm-hmm.
and then I share experiences from women in the Bible, because obviously, again, we got to have the foundation set first. And then I pray. There's a prayer at the end of each chapter
Love that.
for the woman. And I'm making it as though I'm praying over her. I pray over the woman who's reading this. And the main thing is you're not alone going through this, and you don't have to be alone. Despite what you may have not known, despite what you're going through, um, you're not alone, and you can experience peace as you're going through this. You can. It's a mindset change. I talk about that as well in the book. And I'm going through it too. I am learning to just change that mindset because of the health anxiety that I've developed over time. That's another thing that I think a lot of women don't realize, that they're having the health anxiety. And so that affects, your blood pressure, it affects your mindset. And so that was a challenge for me. And I still, every now and then I have that, but I saw the change as I started yielding and just letting God, give me that peace that I need. And so I just want them to know that they're not alone. I'm going through it, and so are billions of other women. And to the woman that says, oh, I'm not having any of that. Yes, you are. It just looks different. I've had many women tell me, I'm saying, for a woman who is 50 something, saying, oh, no, I don't have none of that. And when I start to rattle off the symptoms, they're like, oh, that was a part of it. That's a part of it. Yes, it is. It just looks different for everyone. So, um, yeah, I pour my heart and soul into the book,
Hmm.
and I pray that they will feel comfortable and that they'll feel empowered to go on this journey and experience that peace.
I love that. So let's talk about that faith aspect very
Hmm.
briefly, because I mean I'm a woman of faith as well, so I understand
Hmm.
like the importance of that. And I like that you use the term health anxiety,
Hmm.
because to your point about the symptoms, I've always been on the allergy spectrum like since childhood, but I
Yes.
did develop adult onset asthma 6 years ago now.
Yes.
So that's there's certain I had food allergies as a kid. Like dairy was
Yes.
always like on the no list for me.
Yes.
But in 2022, I
Hmm.
developed an allergy to nuts. And I was like, wait a minute. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I understand what your friend was going through with the
Yes.
very limited menu, and
Hmm.
to what you're saying about the health anxiety. Like I started to get very worried. And there
Yeah.
have been some nights where it has been a struggle to sleep. These
Yes.
days, I'm very careful because sometimes I'll notice it's a nutrient deficiency sometimes.
Hmm.
So like I'm aware of like if my potassium is low or my magnesium is low, that's gonna affect my blood pressure. Like my heart is gonna be racing. So let me make sure that I
Yes.
drink, because I have a subscription for one of those electrolyte drinks.
Yes.
So I make sure I drink my electrolyte water before I
Hmm.
go to sleep. I make sure I
Hmm.
take my iron every day
Hmm. Hmm.
so that I
Yes.
can sleep. Because usually
Yes.
it's one of those. Like usually if one of my levels are off, I can't sleep.
Right.
So when you're going through this, you're experiencing the health anxiety.
Mhm.
How are you? What are the things you're doing faith wise? Are we
Mhm.
talking prayers day and night? Are we talking like Bible study? What does your faith walk look like as you're going through this perimenopausal journey?
For me, let me tell you that there are times where I have cried out to God, not just one day, not just once a day, every day, all day. I am just like, Lord, what is this now? Okay, all right. If something is happening, I'm just like, okay, that has to be the perimenopause. Because last month, my blood work, the executive panel said everything was normal, and my doctor said I had the blood work of a 20-year-old. And then I'm just like, yeah, that's what he said. Everything was, he was just like, well, we know what this is. Even up to yesterday, I said to David that I really want to get off these blood pressure meds because I have blood pressure spikes for no reason. But we know it's the hormone shift that's causing them. And he's just like, you know, God would not allow you um, to be on these for longer than he really wants you to be on them. He knows what you're going through. He knows that this is a time where your body is off. He made you. And I'm thankful that he made me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So I cling to his promises. I talk to God, not just once. Listen, all day you'll be sitting here and all kind of things happening to you. So you're going to be praying and talking to him. And it's not, oh, get on my knees and saying, oh, Father in heaven. No, I'm literally, so I'm talking to you. I would
Mm-hmm.
just be like, listen, I don't know what this is, but fix it. No, not,
You know what
not
I
like
mean?
that. But yeah, I pray. And yeah, there are days where I'm just like, the anxiety kicks in. I'm just like, what is going on? Okay, what did I do? What can I do? And then that still small voice says, remember me? I'm here. I'm just like, okay. I also practice my deep breathing exercises. I practice grounding. I haven't been able to do it much since the hurricane, and then before that, some other things. I don't have full grass outside, so I am not going to be walking on the rocks. My foot is not there yet.
Me either.
It's not there yet. But when I did practice the grounding, while I'm grounding, I use that time to talk to God as well. I use that time to listen to motivational um, or inspirational thoughts, and just listen to that. So that's what's been happening for me. My main thing is clinging to his promises, reading the word. There are some scriptures, even in the book, I have what I call a scripture playlist of promises that God has for us as women, and we don't realize that it's actually for us going through this time. So those are available, and I'll pull on them. I'll read it. I read my book. I can't tell you how many time I read the
Hello.
book,
You know
but
what I'm saying? Like, you wrote it.
don't ask me to tell you what page have what, but I read it.
That's okay.
The memory cells are slowly fading away. You know, that's what I do, honestly. And yeah, and I have the conversation with David, and he'll pray with me or pray for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a great segue into like the family elements with
Mhm.
all of this, because like you said, like our foremothers, like they just lived their life, like they went through these, they felt the symptoms, but they lived their lives
Mhm.
with their husbands, with their kids.
Mhm.
So what has that, you've given us a pretty good telling in terms of your relationship with David through this. What has the relationship with your son been through this? Like, do you talk to him about it? Does he ask you any questions? Do you explain anything to him? Kind of talk about that.
Melissa, I married a good man.
Okay.
He has had the conversation with my son, and I notice it. I'm going to tell you, I know there were times where I lashed out at my son, not because I want to. I love the boy, you know. And after I lash out at him, my son will come and say, Mommy, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. And he said, okay, Mommy. Yes, Mommy. No, Mommy. And when I hear him start saying, yes, Mommy, no, Mommy, or no, yes, Mother, and he doesn't look me in the eye, that lets me know, Simone, you're messing up. You're having an attitude problem. Check it. And there are times I'll be sitting down and I'm just not sure what is going on. And I'm doing something. And I guess I'm sweating, but I'm not as sweaty because I don't sweat heavily when I'm having a hot flash, but I sweat and I don't realize what I'm doing. I'll be like, shoo. And then he'll bring a fan and turn the fan on. I'm just like, oh, thank you. So he does little things. So I know his dad is talking to him. And I know David has actively just told him what to do or what's happening with me if, the scary thing happened twice with he and I when I was picking him up from school. And actually, I brought him home from when I was bringing him home from school, where I had heart palpitations. But this time, it made me almost felt like I was going to faint. So he held the steering wheel and he said, Mommy, just, press on the brakes slowly. And I did that. And he put the truck in park for me. And I just sat there and I was like, son, I remember saying to him, son, I don't know what's happening. And he's like, okay, Mommy, you're going to be okay. And I felt him rubbing and I came to again and drank. He just gave me my water. He said, Mommy, drink up your water, drink your water, drink your water. And I was okay. And then I continued the drive home. So I know that David has been talking to him. Me talking to him, no, I have not sat down and spoken to him about everything that's happening to me, but he knows what's happening. And I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank
Yes.
you for thank you for sharing that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a goal. That's
Mhm.
hashtag goals right there. Family goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's something powerful and important about a husband being directly engaged in that conversation with you as
Yes.
the wife, as you're experiencing all these symptoms, and like telling him like, I don't know what's going on, but it's this, this,
Mhm.
and this. And he's like, all right, let me go prepare my child.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
if your mom is experiencing these, then do this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It makes
Mhm.
your life as the mom and wife so much easier, like as you're shouldering all the other things.
It does.
Um, and to my knowledge, because LDH, he shares that you guys are a praying family.
Yes.
So talk about that as well. Like, do you guys, all three of you, like pray in the mornings, or do you do it like in the evenings? Like, what does the family ritual look like?
So, in the mornings, I'm up before the sun comes up. Because I need to have that personal devotion time and, all the private stuff. So I get up 4:30 every morning. Yeah. If my body don't wake me up at 3:30, I'm like, why? Go back to sleep, but yes, I get up. And I have my own personal devotion. I pray at that time. I do what we call the Sabbath school lesson. So we have Bible studies, individual Bible studies. So I do that. And then I think Josiah, I hear his alarm around 5:30. So he gets up. And because David is meeting already, start working already, so we don't have the time here at home like we used to before he started working there. But on the way in the vehicle, we pray together. You know, he'll David will talk about something, some experience, or we'll touch on a scripture. We talk about what it means to each of us. We'll say what we're thankful for, a gratitude moment, and then we'll each pray. And as we realize that we cannot drop our son off at school before and not pray. We've had where we just had so much going on while we're driving, and we realized by the time we look, we're at the school gate, and he's like, yeah, we didn't pray yet. Let's bow our heads. And I'm just like, but the traffic behind us. He's like, we're gonna pray before I get out this vehicle.
I
So
love
we
it.
do that. Yes. And then in the evening, we have our prayer time again and devotion. This time is where we could sit down. We do a reading from a devotion or there's a book that we're going through um, that focuses on Jesus's life while he was here on earth and stuff like that, and all the good and all that stuff. And there are lessons in that for us. And at that point, we pray when we're done. So at least twice, three, 2 to 3 times for the day we pray together.
I love that. That's awesome. So
Mhm.
this is a great transition into what you mentioned earlier, with how I wanted to come back to that, which is examples of women in the Bible that experienced this. Like,
Mm.
let's talk about that.
Mhm,
Share some of those
mhm.
examples.
So one of the examples that I actually touched on that highlighted loss is Naomi. Naomi had serious losses, husband, children, and she's just like, I'm old. Clearly, she had to be older because she's like, I can't give you no more child. And if I do have a child, what? You're going to wait for that child to grow up, that son to grow up so you can marry? This is her conversation with Ruth.
Yep.
Like, I cannot give you that. And then she's like, I am older now. And basically, I'm bitter. And at that point, she called herself Mara. She's like,
Mara.
don't call me Naomi. My name is Mara because I'm bitter, because of everything that's happened to her. But through the changes, she still found a purpose, a new purpose.
Hmm.
She was able to guide her daughter-in-law, Ruth, who was a Moabite, but let
Yep.
me not go there. Ruth, I was like, man, God, you're so funny. But anyways, to guide her daughter to the newfound love of her life. And they had a son, and now she's now considered the foremother of the man called Jesus. Just so
Yes.
much in that story, a lot of changes. I highlighted her. I looked at Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at Sarah, or is this
Hmm.
Sarai? Sarah, you know. Yeah, how is it that a woman that's that old is having a child? Clearly, she went through perimenopause and menopause. And even today, we hear stories of women who are in their 70s giving birth, don't we? So I
It's
said,
rare, but it
okay,
happens.
okay. And a lot of times to remind the women in our community, say, hey, just because, be careful, because I don't want
That,
you coming on here talking about, um, you know.
yeah,
So those women, I just looked at them and I was just like, man, they actually did go through it, but it looked different. They
yeah,
still they still had faith. They still pushed through. They believed, they cling to the scriptures. I mean, to the promises that God had for them, and they still had purpose. Again, Naomi,
Naomi.
she had new purpose.
Yeah.
Um, Hannah, she dedicated her son to the temple, and
Hmm.
she did well. I mean, she had new purpose.
Hmm.
So, same thing for us. Yes, we're going through these changes. We might not be able to offer, society what we could when we were in our younger years, but we have something new that we can do.
Yeah.
That's just where I am, and that's what I've drawn out of their stories. A
I
new
love that.
purpose.
Yeah.
A new purpose.
Amen.
Because I ain't see myself writing no book for nobody.
See, see, and you've got a community built around it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and trust me, like you're one of the many voices that are necessary, and I say many,
Mhm.
speaking in faith with it, because right now there are probably more voices than this, but to my knowledge, there's four of y'all that I can think of. There's yourself, Holly Berry, Drew Barrymore, and
Mhm.
Tabitha Brown. That's it. And those three ladies are speaking more about menopause. Well, you and Tabitha are talking about perimenopause. The other two are speaking about menopause. But I'm
Mhm.
saying, like, there's still not enough out there about either side of the journey. So
Right.
your voice and your work will indeed be necessary. So please
Mhm.
continue.
I mean, I
um,
am. I hear what you're saying, and actually, I made sure, and that was another thing. The reason why it sounds like I am only focusing on perimenopause, I actually try to focus on both.
mhm,
And the thing is that we tend to use perimenopause the same as menopause. We just call it menopause.
yeah,
But we know that there are three phases. And so because everyone only knows menopause, yeah, because you have premenopause, peri, and post, or menopause and then post. So it's four.
okay,
Pre,
yeah,
this is like your 20s, you're not having any symptoms. So yeah. So that's why, I focus on both, but I think mine has more of a faith-based
yeah,
thing to it.
yeah. And that is necessary because to your point earlier, this is not being discussed in the pews like that. You know what I mean? And women in the church do need to have a safe space to have the conversation because not everything is entirely spiritual. It's both. There's a spiritual element and a physical element. My pastor here, he likes to point out, like, yes, that like things are spiritual, but God did call doctors. Like they have a job. You know what I mean? Like he gifted them with that skill set. Yeah. So with that calling.
Yes.
So like that conversation, both sides of that conversation are necessary.
Hmm.
I wanted to ask you about, because I know you're like dietarily speaking, you're primarily vegan.
Hmm.
So like talk to our audience about some of those alternative solutions that you're using that could be used, because obviously we're not doctors on here,
Right.
but what are some things they can consider if they're experiencing some symptoms?
All right. So some things that they could consider.
Mhm.
Well, first, can I just be transparent here?
Yep.
There are times where I want to pick up the phone and call the hormone specialist and tell her, give me them hormones. Give it here because I can't do this anymore. I'm just like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Give it, just stick them. Okay, come. I'm ready. But tell you, lots of prayers
Yeah.
and encouragement. And I found this. So one of the things that I'm doing now is called seed cycling.
Okay.
And that primarily uses seeds such as the four seeds that's only used during this is the flaxseed and pumpkin seeds. Those go together. And
Okay.
then you have sesame seed and sunflower seeds. Those go together. Those
Wow.
are taken at certain intervals of a woman's cycle. Now, I don't know how much of you know, or if you know that our cycles, our menstrual cycle, it coincides or goes along with the moon shifts, the moon phases.
Did not know that.
Yes, yes,
I'm today years old. Thank you.
yes. And you can even do that now. You don't have to wait, to any, it's a good thing to do because it looks at the luteal phase. I think the luteal phase, I always get those mixed up, so forgive me. But again, you can just look it up.
Hmm.
Um, So you take that. So we know that um, pumpkin seeds and flax seeds, those help with estrogen. They're estrogen supporters, and progesterone supporters as well. And then the sesame and the sunflower,
Hmm.
that's more for magnesium and supports liver and stuff like that. So once I started on that, and mind you, a hormone specialist, I met with her, and she's the one who told me, seeing that you want to go hormone free, this is what you can do. I want you to try the seed cycling. It works. She said, it works. You just have to give it time and be aware of how you're feeling when you're on these seeds. And the other day, I was like, wait a minute, I'm feeling normal. I'm feeling okay. And during the hurricane, I ran out of seeds. Let's just say I was depressed. I felt the sadness then, um, dizzy a lot, and I just felt weird. And I was just like, oh no, I didn't have the seeds. I ran out of seeds, and we didn't have electricity, so I couldn't make a shake. And I was like, well, maybe I could just eat seeds, but I don't have them, and everywhere was shut down. And so, finally, I said I was able to get the seeds, and I started using them again, and I felt a difference by the end of the day, a total difference with the pumpkin and the flaxseed. And I said, I don't want to switch off of them because you're supposed to come off of them when you start the other two. But I found out that I can still take that and still take the two when I'm supposed to take those two. So I'll be taking all four seeds at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it really helped. Magnesium glycinate, that's a very good one to take for women who are experiencing perimenopause, menopause, because that also helps with insomnia. It helps with nerves. So if you're experiencing anxiety, that's something to get started on, right? Um, I'm also doing my OBGYN. She actually started me on black cohosh.
Yes. I'm
Cohosh.
familiar with that.
Yeah, so she started me on that. And I was like, okay, well, if she's the OBGYN and she's saying I could take it, no problem. So I started that. And I started also red raspberry leaf capsules. They kind of do the same thing. And I found that once I keep balance with taking those and the progesterone and, excuse me, and the seed cycling,
These. Hmm.
I realized that I don't have much hot flashes anymore. So I'm thankful for that. Every now and then, I'll get a little hot, but then David is like, no, it's really hot in here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay. It's not me, So yeah. And what else do I do? Um, oh, I have a tincture that I use. It's called Fem Plus. I found that David actually found it. No, lie. I was at a church where David was speaking, and I ran out of the church because I literally was pouring down sweat. And the blouse I was wearing was a sheer blouse. And once that, yes, I was cursing, even though I had something under it, but it was soaking wet. And I looked at David while he was getting ready he was about to get up to go and preach. And I was like, the key, I need to get. He looked at me and saw what was happening. And my son went and got the key. I went in the truck, cranked it up, and I sat literally both arms up at the vent. And there was a man passing by. He's a naturopathic doctor. And he tapped on the window. He said, Sister Harris, come to the house. I have something for you. Got the drops. It's a natural progesterone. And I took it. And I haven't had any problems. The hot flashes went away until I was in the thick of it. And then now I'm doing the black cohosh. I still take the drops. So I'm doing quite a few things to help me. And just speak to your doctor. Please, again, like she said, we are not medical experts, not medical professionals. So please speak to your doctor about what best works for you. In the book, I do talk a little bit about some of the things, but you can find what works for you. And find a hormone specialist, an integrative OBGYN. They are usually hormone specialists.
Love it. Yeah, thanks for that differentiation at the end. Because
Oh, and drink a lot of water.
amen. A lot of
Sorry.
that. A lot. I drink
Yeah,
a lot of that.
a lot in the vitamin D3 because especially in North America where you're always inside because you're either in air conditioned or you're in heat. You don't go outside much. And then now they're starting to find that here in Jamaica. Yes, because people are spending more time inside. They don't want to get dark.
That's a whole other conversation.
But yeah, so vitamin D, get your vitamin D3 checked, not just vitamin D3 levels, get those checked. And that's usually the vitamin deficiency that takes place in especially people of color.
Facts. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, some of the more emotional things are usually a result of that. Like people can develop depression as a result of vitamin D deficiency. We as
Mm-hmm.
women, like those who've been rocking with me on the show for a long time, I've talked about my health challenges. Mine was a women's health challenge, and it was primarily due to a vitamin D deficiency. It was a combination of vitamin D deficiency, chronic stress, and poor diet. Those three things.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. No,
And it
you're
contributed to all three issues that we
yeah.
women, especially women of color, commonly
Yeah.
deal with
Yes.
reproductively. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it. For me as a vegan, or I'm gonna say a plant-based eater because I
Yes.
love me some honey. And um, and I love a good pair of leather outfit. So as a
Whole food plant-based eater. Same. Same.
as a plant, yeah, David said we're volitional herbivores.
I
Uh,
like that. Yes.
um, we also need to look at our B12 deficiency, check our B12 levels. So right now he got me some chewable vitamin B12 with 1,000 UD, something like that. And
IU.
the
Mhm.
I keep thinking D. Why don't I put the D? Oh, I know why.
Yeah,
Scratch.
I got you.
I just thought about it. I was like, oh, that's why. Oops, no. Yeah, so 1,000. It also has B6. We need to look at all our Bs, the B6, and iron levels. So I was at one point, my iron level was a little bit low. And that's when I found out that my fibroids had tripled in size within a year.
Exactly.
Within just the one year,
Yep.
and it's supposed to be decreasing. They're supposed to be shrinking, but they were not. And I just went and had an ultrasound done to see where we at because they're affecting major organs.
That part, that that was
Hmm.
my health challenge. Like I did
Yeah,
a major surgery in June of last year.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah. So I don't, I don't mind talking about it. So that's it for me. That's what I had to do that. And I was like, okay, maybe I was deficient in something, but the blood work all came back saying no.
yeah, it's interesting.
Hmm.
So, the last question I'll ask you before I, give everybody your socials.
Hmm.
You briefly mentioned Hurricane Melissa, and
Yeah.
guys, me and Simone were joking. Like, I was like, it wasn't me. That's Melissa 1L. That was not me.
Mhm.
I'm
Anything
Melissa with
named
two L's.
Melissa, 1L, 2L, 3Ls, 3S's, 1S.
Right. So yeah, I would like share with our audience because you're there, like you're on the island. What was that experience like for you and David and Josiah? And like, how's your family doing? Like, how are things for you on the island now?
It was a scary, it was a scary time, because we weren't sure where it was going to hit. At first, they said it was going to hit where we were. We were going to take that direct hit. And I was just like, man, what is that going to be like? We've been through Beryl, which is a category 4, but Beryl didn't, I mean, it hit this side, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. But then we saw category 5, and they were talking about the winds were going to be 185 miles per hour. We were like, okay, our roof was built really well because they have what they call ties on it. And we were just like, okay, the roof should hold on. We might lose the shingles, but the roof should hold on. Um, I know that my anxiety kicked up during that time, but the Lord told me to go and stock up on my meds. So I went, I was like, first I was like, why am I getting that? And then come to find out a hurricane was about to hit. Who knew that it was going to be that bad? We didn't know that our infrastructure, as far as the telecommunications, is going to be affected like that. We didn't know we were going to lose power for however long we were going to lose power for. And so I was able to get my meds. I was trying to just figure out, okay, how am I going to sleep? By the way, I have sleep apnea. I don't fit the bill, but I have sleep apnea and I'm realizing it might be because of also the perimenopause. I need power to sleep because my CPAP machine runs off of power. So we had that struggle with that. Ended up having to leave our home, go into town to stay with a dear friend who said, hey, we have a generator. David stayed here at the house. We lost a couple trees, but it's okay. We're alive. Um, this side of the island didn't take a big direct hit, but I places that were more central, like Manchester, going over to far west, they took a hit. I have not been able to venture out there. I do have a cousin who is in St. Elizabeth, in Burn Savannah, where they literally had things were flattened. But his place is still there, so thank God for that. Yes, and the thing about it, it's a mud house. The mud house stayed up, but the everything else around them went. Um,
Wow.
yes, and I have also cousins who are in Montego Bay that
Mm,
took a direct hit.
yeah.
They sent us videos and pictures. So right now, our family, we just decided to help 7 families. And as I'm 13 now, because we did a fundraiser and we got over 10,000 US dollars. So we'll be able to put roofs back on, build a house structure for a blind man who lost his whole everything, and just try to help more, a couple of our family members or relatives who have been affected. But we're doing fine. Um, it has taken a toll emotionally and mentally. For a few days there, David was just like, what in the world? And you feel so bad. Sometimes you might, like, I know some people have felt like what they call it, survivor's guilt or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're just looking like, oh my gosh. So a lot of them are buying and then they go over and try to do things and feel like they have to keep doing and keep doing. And I'm just like, this is going to be a 5-year thing. It's going to
Yeah.
extend beyond the 1 week, the 2 week, the 1 month.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna take
now,
a while.
yeah, and now people are, we have the outbreak, the leptospirosis outbreak, and people have died from that. And so now you have to be careful. And I had one friend that she went there a couple of weekends, and the first weekend she went, she was like, Simone, it just smells like death. And I was just like, she's like, yes, it smells like dead animals and death. And she's like, I have to go back. And she's been going back each weekend. Her sons don't want to go because they couldn't handle it. The children, they just couldn't handle it. Um, and sometimes I think about them, but I'm not ready to go yet because I know what the emotional toll it will take on me. Um, but I am doing things in the background to make sure aid is getting there and stuff like that. And I'm about to embark on another one. Going to meet to talk logistically about how we'll go about doing that. But we're okay.
Glad to hear that. And yeah, like our folks, we my folks went down for a week and then came back up here just
Hmm.
in time for the holiday. But
Hmm.
yeah, like our ministry, Mind, Body, and Soul Health Ministry, like
Hmm.
they usually go down in the summer for their mission trip to serve
Yeah.
primarily St. Anne, and sometimes they'll venture
Hmm.
out to other places. But like for this, like
Hmm.
in another couple of weeks, they're headed down, or actually a week, excuse me, a week
Hmm.
as of the time of this recording. They're headed down there to like really, like
Yeah.
with the flight, with the supplies, all the
Yeah.
things like there,
Yeah.
yeah, to provide
Definitely.
supplies. Yeah,
Definitely needed. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. It's not going, again, it's not going to be the end of the year.
no,
They're going to need the assistance. It's going to be at least a year, but to fully get back to what it was going to take at least 5 years, minimum 5 years.
yeah,
And yeah, because I host a children's program on one of our local radio station on Saturday mornings. And so my focus is going to try and raise funds for the children because they went down to a community that no one they don't focus on it. It's a more rural community. And they were there last weekend or weekend before, and they took supplies. They did health screenings for them and everything. And she's like, Simone, they need more, and we're going to find other pockets. So in January is what our focus is. I don't want to run down there now. Everybody's running now. What happened to January and February? You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I hear you. And that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So shout out to you and the whole Harris household
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
for
you. Thank you.
doing your thing. And
Thank
shout out to you again for fulfilling the assignments
you.
of getting the
Thank
book
you.
done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell our audience where they can connect with you, where they can get a copy of the book, all the things.
Mhm. Well, they can connect with me at shewalksbyfaithbook.com. You can also get the book there. So www.shewalksbyfaithbook.com. You can also connect with me at, again, I think I shared www.secondspringsurvivors.com. www.secondspringsurvivors.com. And yeah, so that's where we are. We are not on Instagram. Um, we're not on TikTok. I do try to do videos on TikTok, but I can't keep up. That's for the younger community. I'll try. I started getting a lot of followers, but man, yes. And that's it. Oh, and the
Awesome.
books are available.
Hmm.
Sorry, the books are available in hardcover. And it's also available for ministries if they want to order. They can order bulk copies, and they'll get a discount with that. So, and also available in audio, and the audio book as well. So that's it.
Love that. Did you record that? Did you narrate it yourself?
Nope. No, I
I
did
love
not. I did not. I did not. No. I have done one before, but that's a lot of work.
You're not wrong. You're not.
But no, no, I did not voice it. Maybe the next one, if the Lord sees fit for me to do another one.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Well, Simone, thank you so much for being on, and you're welcome anytime. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. All right.
Was that not quite an insightful interview? I hope this one was beneficial for you. And again, as always, I have Simone's information in the show notes if you need to, follow up with her. If you want to get a copy of the book, be sure to do that. And if you haven't yet regarding this show, be sure to subscribe on YouTube. You can find me there at Getting the Win. Subscribe there, click the bell so you can get all the notifications. You can, if you're an audiophile, follow the show on Spotify. Find me on Spotify, The Getting the Win Show. That's where I am over there. I am on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show, so you can follow me on those platforms. You can find me on TikTok at Melissa T. Writes, Melissa with 2 L's and 2 S's. And I am on LinkedIn at Melissa Thomas over there. Again, 2 L's and 2 S's. But in the meantime, in between time, tune in next Wednesday for another great episode, another great conversation. But have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday today, and a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.